Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Wayne Morris with WHHI.
And I'm Debra Ferguson with WHHI.
And today we have a special treat. It's going to be a special edition of 843 TV, and we're going to be talking all about the Port Royal Sound Foundation and what a great cause and a great thing coming to our community.
Amazing.
Our first guest is Chris Marsh. He is on the Board of Trustees for the foundation, and he's going to be kind of laying out what we're going to be getting here and what it's going to be all about and how you can access it and some timelines and things like that. It's going to be great.
Right, and we also have Rob Montgomery, the architect of the building that's being repurposed, and what a story he has to tell.
Yeah, he had his work cut out for him, it sounds like. And then our final guest is Port Royal Councilman Joe Lee. We're in Port Royal after all, and he's going to talk about the impact in Port Royal and how residents can do their part as well to keep the rivers clean. So
important.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to be a great show, all about Port Royal Sound Foundation today. So make sure you come back for more 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.
843 TV, where Port Royal comes to speak.
843 TV, where Dato Island comes to speak.
TV, where communities come to speak. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now joined by Chris Marsh, who is on the Board of Trustees here at the Port Royal Sound Foundation. Chris, how are you?
Great, well, thanks.
Good to be here. Why is the Port Royal Sound Foundation created, and what is it that you guys are aiming to do?
The Port Royal Sound Foundation is really built on efforts that have been going on for the past 25 plus years by the residents of Beaufort County. There was the Clean Water Task Force back in the 1990s. That first was established when oyster beds were closed behind Hilton Head. Then with the hard work of Nancy Schilling with the Friends of the Rivers, that work continued through 2001, 2011. There's also was interest from north of the Broad with the Port Royal Sound Fund. And so the foundation was created by bringing all these interests together. And the Port Royal Sound Foundation is really the next generation of the Friends of the Rivers nonprofit. And so it's here to help capture the love for the water and the concern of protecting the water here.
Okay.
Chris, what do you see the role for the Maritime Center being in the Port Royal Sound Foundation?
One of the biggest challenges for the Port Royal Sound Foundation and for protecting local water quality is that Beaufort County now has stringent stormwater ordinances. And so what's left now is to have residents who understand their role. And so without education of all the residents of Beaufort County and Jasper County, we can't protect the water quality. The Maritime Center is located in the ideal location for people to see it, want to come learn what's in it, and therefore be our outreach mechanism to engage all the residents of the region to learn about how to protect the water of the Port Royal Sound and all the tidal rivers that connect to it.
When you say water quality, this may be a naive question, but what exactly does that mean when you mention water quality?
Water quality is one of those terms that just sort of people go blank on. And so the best way to describe it is to say that if you want to have healthy shrimp, crabs, if you want to keep sports fishing here, if you want to make it so it's safe to swim in the water, it means that you have water that is free of excessive bacteria, that it doesn't have chemicals that kill the larvae of the shrimp and the crabs and the small fish, and it really maintains a healthy ecosystem.
Okay, gotcha.
Chris, we're here at this beautiful, soon-to-be open Maritime Center. Can you tell us what's going to be inside the building?
The Maritime Center is going to be the place where we tell the stories of this region and also how water quality and the marine life that's in this area is so important to the way of life here. When you come in, you're going to see a predator diorama. It's going to emphasize the role of sports fishing, the stories of large sharks, cobia, and it's also going to talk about dolphins and the underwater world, including the sounds of the underwater world. It's going to give people a chance to have hands-on experiences, the kids and the grandparents. So it's going to be very much a hands-on place to go. It's also going to tell the history of the area, because you can't separate history and landscape here, because that's one of the reasons we want to protect this landscape.
Yeah, and that goes back to the history part of it is Port Royal Sound from 1562 forward.
People don't realize that much of U.S. history has strong links here. Dr. Larry Rowland, Professor Emeritus at USCB, always says all U.S. history starts in Beaufort County. And now I believe him after being here for about 15 years.
Well, and now all these articles in Low Country Weekly about the history and going back to Santa Elena.
Yeah, Santa Elena, also the Battle of Port Royal was the turning point in terms of naval history. There's go on and on with those kinds of examples of how important history is
And
here.
it's great to tie it into here.
And this is the place you come hear these stories. Some people love nature, other people love people, so by telling both the story of the environment and of the local history, then people understand why it's so important to protect Beaufort and Jasper counties the way it is now.
Yeah, it's great.
Is this concept done anywhere else? Is this or unique to this facility?
There is no other place that brings everything together. What's really important to understand is that Beaufort County and Jasper County have lots of special places to go, and they're unique places. One of the challenges is that the Port Royal Sound Broad River system divides the area to north of the Broad and south of the Broad, and so there's no place that lets you see how to integrate all these. So this will be the place to come if you want to learn about Mitchellville, Penn Center, Fort Fremont, up in Jasper County. There are all these different places to come, and this is the place to introduce people on how special this place is and all the different places to go to learn history and nature.
You know, it's on a much different scale, but I remember visiting the Monterey Aquarium out in California, and they adapted an old building that was affiliated with the waterfront, kind of like the Maritime Center, adapting the old marina. And I think it's really neat to be able to marry that history to the new mission statement of the Port Royal Sound Foundation of education. It's going to be really a cool facility, I think.
Chris, there's so many wonderful communities you just mentioned. So what communities around here should be involved in the Port Royal Sound Foundation?
When you look at the map, people see all the water. Over 50% of Beaufort County is water, and everybody thinks about their tidal creek or their tidal river behind them, the May River or the Okatee or the Colleton, and they think of that as their river. What they need to understand is that all the waterways here are actually water coming from the ocean. So you have to think of our waterways like a tree with branches. So every community that looks over water or is near water or cares about water is actually connected to the Port Royal Sound. So we're all connected by this waterway. So no matter where you live in Beaufort County, you absolutely have to rely on the help of Port Royal and Port Royal Sound in order to enjoy where you are and what makes this area a special place to live.
Well, that's great. Real quickly, tell us if somebody watching at home wants to get involved, who should they contact and what should they do?
One of the first things you can do is just go to our website, portroyalsoundfoundation.com, where you can learn more information, and you also can find ways to be in touch. And we're getting ready to kick off a membership drive, which we'll talk more about later.
Great. Well, thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. And stay tuned. We'll be right back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now joined by the architect for the Maritime Center, Rob Montgomery. Rob, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you obviously are involved with the design of the new Maritime Center, but you also know a lot about it. So
Yeah.
what kind of exhibits are going to be featured here?
Well, there's going to be a number of tanks with live specimens. When you walk in the main exhibit hall, which is going to be kind of what greets everybody to start, there's going to be a 10-foot diameter tank that's going to feature cobia, shark, stingrays, that kind of thing. And then there'll also be an exhibit for the Marsh to show the different tide ranges that we're so famous for here in Beaufort. And a touch tank where the kids can have hands-on experiences. And then there's going to be a whole room dedicated to the oysters of the Low Country. You know that we're really famous for their flavor, but they were a big part of the industry, maritime history here. So there's going to be a room dedicated to that. And then there's going to be a traveling exhibit room. They'll have some electronic history and question and answer type display, but then there'll also be artwork, art shows that come to town that are relative to the Port Royal Sound and that kind of thing. So
Well, that had to be fun for you to design.
it's been a great challenge and a lot of fun. We've got an exhibit committee that's affiliated with the Sound Foundation that has been tremendous as to how they're marrying the exhibits into this old, marina. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
And Rob, tell everybody, where's the Maritime Center located so they'll know how to find us?
We're on the Chechessie River, and we're right at the intersection of 170, which is, the main link between the north and south part of the county. And so it's you can't miss it whether you're coming by boat or by land. So.
And you've got some history on the marina itself that used to be here. I think you used to participate in this marina.
Oh yeah, it's I think the marina started in the 1940s, and then there was also a restaurant affiliated with it, and so it's had a long history with the community, both the been heres and the come heres.
And wasn't there an antique store here at one time?
There was the Den of Antiquity.
See, everybody will remember that.
That was William Sproat was a gentleman who had the marina, the antique store, and also a restaurant. I think it was Riverdale was the name of the restaurant. So
there's been a lot here.
A lot of different things, yeah.
And there was a lot of work to save this building. I mean,
Sure.
Because there were a lot of plans to take it down and redevelop
Absolutely.
the whole territory.
And the other thing that is so cool about it, I think, is that everything that was here was affiliated with the river. The marina, the restaurant, all that, was really based on the river and the Port Royal Sound Foundation. I mean, Port Royal Sound. So I think it's really cool that the foundation has taken it on to become the educational tool for the foundation.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm really curious as what needed to be done to the building in order to repurpose them for the Maritime Center.
A lot. It was a building that was kind of put together in phases. They just kind of added things as
Typical
they
low
needed
country.
it. Yeah, exactly. The Maritime Center, the marina. And so structurally there was some issues, that we had to address to get it put together. But again, the main thing that I think was done so well was by the exhibits committee to marry, the mission and their statements and the way that they're presenting things into that existing building. Of course, we've got all new electrical, plumbing, and mechanicals. One of the issues is that it is below the floodplain, so we had to deal with that, and the town of Port Royal has been very, very helpful and calling meetings so that we could all get together and figure out how to really make this work for the foundation.
So this facility is obviously you've designed it and is going to be designed for school trips and big tours and what are going to be some of the main purposes?
I think that's the key is that it is designed for a flow to have big groups come through, but it also is going to be really cool just for people stopping in, seeing it on the side of the road, or coming by boat. It's going to have a lot of hands-on learning experiences and just some really cool stuff that the kids will really love. There's going to be a huge, what's the Jaws, the
Megalodon.
Megalodon, which a kid will be able to walk through. I mean,
Dr. Marsh.
It's a lot of neat stuff.
That's great. So is a megalodon like a shark or?
Those are those giant shark teeth they find. It's in the same genus as the great white shark.
Oh, wow.
But it lived about 2 or 3 million years ago and was about 55 feet long.
That's great. So the big question is, when's this all going to be available to the community, and when are doors going to open?
Summertime is the safest thing
There you go.
that I could say, but I think early June is when they're hoping to open the doors.
And once the doors open, the exhibits are going to be phased in. So there'll be reasons for people to keep coming back. So we'll get the building open. There'll be things for people to see. But some of these exhibits take a while to be manufactured or produced. And so as people get engaged, they'll see this unfold and grow as a very organic process.
That's great.
Over
So
the
it's
next
not a
12
one-time
months.
thing. It's a
Right.
recurring visit.
No, expect to continue to see improvements and changes all through the first year it's open.
That's great. Well, thank you for being here today and telling us a little bit about the architecture. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be neat.
Yeah, he was inspecting this morning, so doing a
Well,
walkthrough.
That's
Yeah.
good. We appreciate you being here.
Great.
And stay with us. We'll be back with more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are now joined by Town of Port Royal Councilman Joe Lee. Joe, how are you?
I'm great.
So tell us, obviously we have the theme here today of the Port Royal Sound Foundation. What does that mean to Port Royal, and why are you guys taking a specific interest in this?
Well, it's, for one thing, what people don't really know or realize is we're in Port Royal right now.
Sure.
So this is part of the town of Port Royal, and we're real pleased about that. And the other big issue with Port Royal is that our community touches the Port Royal Sound probably as much as any other community in the county. When you look at it, we have property on Broad River, on Battery Creek, and on the Beaufort River, and so it's very important to us to protect Port Royal Sound. We've been involved in this, as Chris was saying, back when the Friends of the River was involved, in trying to make sure that everyone understands how they impact Port Royal Sound. And we feel this is a tremendous opportunity for the town to help.
Yeah, this foundation seems like a really good fit with what you guys are all about to begin
Well,
with.
it is, and we've been really pleased to help where we can. So.
Great.
Hey, Joe, could you explain, what is the town doing as part of the foundation?
Well, I think, Chris, one of the things, other than just supporting the goal of the foundation, one of the things that we're able to do is provide an actual laboratory for some of the things that you talk about. We have the wetlands and the rookery open to the public, and people can come here to this facility, see what that's all about, and then in just a few miles go see it in action. The wetlands portion of our rookery is a living example of how to treat stormwater. And I think when people see here what stormwater can do and can't do, they can go to the wetlands and see how we protect all of Port Royal Sound just by retaining a lot of stormwater.
And if for people who love birds, they have to know that you can get very close and get great looks at
You can-
birds at the
can do that.
boardwalk there if they haven't been there yet.
That's
And-
what I was going to say, that, to describe it as a detention for stormwater, it doesn't speak much about what it really
Well,
is. It's
yeah,
a
but
cool
that was,
place
I
to
mean,
walk.
that's
But it's
right.
a win-win.
Yeah.
That was a freebie. The birds were
exactly.
a freebie.
Yeah.
And in fact, the birds are on their way now. Here it is the 1st of March, and the birds are already coming back. So we know we'll have a great season. So.
Joe, what do you see as some of the challenges for the foundation?
Well, I think I want to echo what Chris was saying earlier about people and understanding. Almost every resident in Port Royal is impacted. It has an opportunity to impact Port Royal Sound. If you think about a drop of rainwater falling in a resident's yard, that makes them responsible for making sure that drop of rainwater doesn't enter Port Royal Sound with anything else with it. Because before the homes were built, that water went into the ground, or there was enough water, it flowed on into the sound. But now it's going to flow on that person's yard, pick up the dog waste, pick up the fertilizer, and then go to Port Royal Sound. And that's the mission that the foundation is all about, is
Right.
educating these people.
So it's mainly about prevention and steps you can take for that to not be the case, I guess.
Sure. And what can I do to keep that water clean, and what can I do to keep it on my property if I could? But if it leaves my property, I want to make sure it's not taking anything with it.
And Joe, one of the things I want to point out is that Port Royal does a great job of having open space with a lot of trees. And so there's an important role for these communities to have with their open space.
Right.
And so Port Royal is a good example of what to do there. So there's a responsibility to the responsibilities, but there are also the community associations, the POAs. They play a very important role too, and you help illustrate what needs to be done there.
Well, and I think one of the issues is, how do you reach all these people, and how do you get them? Because most people, given an opportunity, are going to be complacent and say, well, it's not my problem. I can't see the water. How can it be my problem? But if you look at the maps, we are all involved in the Port Royal Sound. You can't escape it, and we also want to enjoy it. So.
You know, I think the neat thing about the foundation coming online now too is that the county and a lot of the municipalities in Beaufort County have some of the most stringent stormwater control laws, but they're so new, it's hard for the developers to really get on board and you know, see how to do it in a beautiful way, like
Right.
the wetlands walk, you know, and it's all the original wetlands, they're just being repurposed
Right.
with real stormwater ramifications.
So how can the town help spread the word?
Well, I think the mechanism that we all need to use, the town and the foundation and anybody else that wants to keep this sound pristine, is take a lesson from the fire department and the insurance companies. They realize that if we're going to keep house fires down and if we're going to keep insurance rates low for homes, let's educate the children in the elementary school. Since the fire department's been going into elementary schools and educating these students, the rate of fires has gone way down. And I think that's where we have to go. We have to get these elementary students first here in this center, show them what it's all about, take them to the wetlands, let them see what it looks like in live action, and then they'll go home and tell their parents, don't put that stuff on the yard because it's going to hurt the soil. So that's where I think it has to
That's a
start.
great idea.
And I think the rest of it comes from that. So.
What are some misconceptions quickly that you feel may be out there?
I think the biggest misconception is I'm not involved in the Port Royal Sound. I don't have anything to do with Port Royal Sound, and I think that's the message to everybody out there is you do.
Yeah, we're all doing it.
Especially, and even if you're visiting, you do, because you can do things just visiting. So.
Awesome. Well, great stuff, Joe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.